Hello, BookTube. Who's in the mood for a mystical journey? Or, since all mysticism is hooey, the closest thing we can come to a mystical journey, which is a nice big mail haul. Sorry, I should probably have opened with that. All mysticism is hooey. but we still have the mail. Oh good. Here's extra Bernie Sanders today. We've got a bunch of packages here. Let's go through and see what kind of fun we can have. I have my assistant at the ready. She will probably leap for this first package, which is kind of small. Could be a mass market paperback, and if it's a mass market paperback, it could be a romance novel. We could be starting off with a romance novel. Yes? Yes, Bean? Oh. Once again, received for like the third time, I received once again an email from a newcomer to the channel, someone who just subscribed, just discovered my channel this week, who was generally was watching, thinking I'm gonna get another windy sermon about some book or other. I held up a package, and all of a sudden something came up and grabbed it, and they went, ah! I keep forgetting the extra visceral shock that such moments must have to a lot of you. A lot of you watch me on your big plasma screen TVs. I'm hard enough, even at small size, but on a phone, maybe I would be bearable. But a lot of people watch me on, I get pictures from all over the world of people taking a picture of me on their screen. It's so incredible. It's so incredibly flattering and humbling that we have these conversations all over the world. I just love it. Absolutely love it. But yes, for those of you who are brand new, who maybe just discovered the channel, that is my little miniature schnauzer, Frida. She is my one and only dog, and she likes the mail as much as I do. Those of you who are brand new to the channel will not remember that I started off this channel with two other dogs, with my old girls, and we went through it together. They were very old when I started this channel, and then we went through their illness, and then we went through losing the one, first Lucy, and then her sister. And the appearance of this little puppy it came out of nowhere. I had no idea what was going to happen with this tiny little puppy. Oh, in 2017, late 2017. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I couldn't. She wouldn't leave me alone when she was a tiny little rat of a thing. I wanted her in my arms at all times. I wanted her. She was badly bewildered, and I wanted her to make sure she knew that. Yes, this is a big, wide, new world. It's very confusing, but it has a rock, and that rock is me. So I tried never to really let her go for any length of time in those first few months. So she was on camera with me when I didn't even know her name. But anyway, look. Oh, I was right. It's romances. Okay, so the first one I believe we've seen already. I'm looking at my romance shelf here, but I just redid my romance shelf. To make it a tiny bit more organized. I think we've already seen this. This is Sterling's Montana, Luck of the Draw by B.J. Daniels. I think we already saw this. I think we've seen a couple of B.J. Daniels books by now. When Garrett Sterling leaves for a horseback ride through his family's sprawling Montana property, he's expecting a relaxing break from the construction at the Sterling Guest Ranch. Remember, I think the first one of these had guests at the ranch being trapped by a blizzard. What he gets is something far more sinister. It all happens so fast that it's hard for Garrett to sort out the facts, but two things are certain. Someone is dead, and the killer knows there was a witness. I read the last B.J. Daniels romance novel that I got and loved it. I think that this novelist was new to me before then. And of course, it's a killer that he encounters out while gallivanting around in the Montana wilderness. It's not a bear. It would be a bear. But instead it's a killer because it's a novel. And then this next one's a trade paperback, although I don't know. Maybe this won't come out as a trade paperback. No, this is going to be released as a trade paperback in May. And this is by Jodie Thomas, who is an author who's unknown to me. If any of you know Jodie Thomas, sing out. What can I expect? And this is The Little Tea Shop on Maine. 2 women, 3 lives, 1 unforgettable journey. The Little Tea Shop on Maine. Due out in May. Blonde, curly-haired Zoe is open-hearted, kind, and free-spirited, but struggles with body image. Emily is shy, diminutive, and would prefer to live vicariously through the characters in the books she reads. Oh, she has a BookTube channel. And Shannon, tall, athletic, strong, has a deep sense of loyalty, but will always fear abandonment. As these 3 girls grow into women, they forge careers, have their hearts broken, marry, and have children. But the one constant that remains is each other and their regular tea parties. Oh, that sounds nice. That sounds nice. Oh, okay. All right. All right, so we're off to a wonderful start, because starts to mail hauls don't get any better than romances. So let's see. Let's see what we have next here. You ready for another one, Reno? You have manila envelope all over your face, little girl. You're a messy eater. Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. I requested this. This sounded really good to me, and I think I've read a previous book in this series. This is a vintage national parks novel called Ever Faithful by Karen Barnett. With a nice retro illustrated cover there of a tour bus and an American bison and Old Faithful. Those of you who are perhaps not from America, we have a hot springs, a regular geyser. It goes off like clockwork. And I am amazed. I've been there 4 times, and I've been in the surrounding parkland a million times. And when I go down to Old Faithful, I'm always amazed at the tourists who come in by the busload and take photos and wait impatiently and tap their watches and wait for this thing to blow. I'm always amazed at how these people are not terrified. If they aren't going to be terrified by the 2,000-pound Pleistocene holdover herbivore, American buffalo are accustomed to humans being around them in Yosemite and all the other Western American national parks. But they are still enormous killdozers. they are every bit. They were born at the same time and raised in the same pre-human world as grizzly bears. And you can tell, because they're horrifying, absolutely horrifying. And the full-grown adult males are as big as houses. But as terrifying as they are, a regular geyser system is far worse. What does it tell you? What does a regular geyser system tell you? I'll give you a hint. It tells you 5 or 6 things, and none of them are pleasing. The idea, only humans would make such a thing a tourist attraction. It's why it's no surprise to me at all that there is now a booming year-round tourist industry of people being taken in to tour the Soviet town that was precipitously abandoned when Chernobyl melted down. There's an old town. It's empty. You can see the Ferris wheels, the merry-go-rounds, the houses, the kitchens, the city squares. And the reason it was abandoned, the reason why wildlife and foliage is taking it over, is because of the radiation leaks. And yet it is a year-round tourist industry now. Anyway, the dense lodgepole forests and roaring waterfalls of Yellowstone National Park spring to life in Karen Bartnett's 3rd installment in the Vintage National Park series. I think I read one other, although there's nothing really that touches backwoods Yosemite. The parts where these tourists go are pretty enough in their way, but there are hidden treasures in Yosemite that you really need to. First of all, you need to be able to hike out. You need to be able to live in the wilderness for days, or you'll never see these places. There's no way that you'll see them otherwise. Talk about hidden waterfalls. You have to run some risks if you do it in Yosemite. In the wider Yosemite, the part that isn't familiar to tourists, there are 2 main risks that you run. I've encountered both of them on this channel, at least safely in the pages of books. One is grizzly bears. Don't get me started on grizzly bears. They are absolutely enormous, and they are always in a bad mood. And they can move virtually silently, like elephants, so you never know they're there until it's too late. And speaking of not knowing they're there until it's too late, the other would be rattlesnakes. You can avoid the rattlesnakes if you go in winter, but then the bears are extra hungry. So anyway, like her first 2 novels in the series, the author draws on her first-hand experience as a naturalist to write a thrilling romantic mystery set in the raw natural beauty of one of America's most beloved national parks. Oh, so this is almost March Mystery Madness. It's a romantic location murder mystery. Barnett transports readers back to the height of the Great Depression in 1933, when President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal offers a glimmer of hope for unemployed young men. I didn't see that coming. It's historical as well. Nate Weber is one of the many to join the Civilian Conservation Corps and help provide for his family, but it means leaving them and everything he knows behind in Brooklyn for the untamed West. Shipped off to the wilds of Yellowstone, Nate is desperate to prove himself, but hides a shameful secret that could risk everything for him. Okay, all right. So this comes out, when does this come out? In June. This comes out in late June, when I presume it will no longer be 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a historical, romantic location murder mystery. All right, let's move on. You ready for another book, Bean? Oh, somebody wants her mid-morning nap. Oh goodness. Oh God. Oh God. Okay. Well, speak of the devil. Speak of the 2,000-pound furiously angry devil. This is Wild Awakening by Greg Matthews with help from James Lund. This is Wild Awakening: How a Raging Grizzly Healed My Wounded Heart. Okay. Right. You see that terrain? I'm sure the bear is photoshopped on there, but see the terrain? See the terrain? So you're canoeing and you pull over here, and right behind those trees is an adult male grizzly bear who just doesn't like the look of you, or has had a bad day, or has a pebble in his paw. And you're here in your canoe, and you've got maybe 1 foot in the canoe, 1 foot on the shore, and you're trying to pull your canoe up. Maybe, let's say, with a crowd of yodeling beagles. A bear who's behind that tree over there is less than 10 seconds away from you. Anyway, let's see here. Well, so this is nonfiction. A near-fatal attack by an enraged grizzly, there is no other kind, leads to an unexpected encounter with God for alpha male Greg Matthews in this gripping and engaging story of survival and faith. Oh. Greg Matthews was the ultimate poster boy for masculinity. Excuse me, that job's taken. Okay. Avid hunter and outdoorsman, Air Force and civilian firefighter, EMT, rescue helicopter pilot, fugitive recovery agent, oh, for Pete's sake, Ground Zero volunteer, and more, Greg has spent his whole life striving to serve others, but for all the wrong reasons. After his parents' divorce, when he was young, Greg believed deep down that the only way he could be loved and valued was if he earned it through daring, high-stakes, high-risk, what society commonly refers to as manly achievements. But everything changed when an idyllic hunting trip through the backwoods of Alaska turned into a harrowing fight for his life, and there's only one thing that'll ever do that. Greg was attacked by a grizzly bear, but the gruesome, nearly fatal conflict offered an unexpected encounter with God. Greg's eyes, and more importantly his heart, were finally opened to the lie that he'd internalized as a child, that his dangerously high-risk achievements were the sole signifiers of his worth. Right. Whoever wrote this pub sheet really earned their keep. The road to recovery was long and painful, but it forced Greg to come face to face with a long-held view of manhood that he had absorbed as his own identity. Okay. Well, it changed his heart, and I'm glad the grizzly left him with a heart. It opened his eyes, and I'm glad the grizzly left him with eyes. They like to eat those. And it brought him face to face with his own inner self, and I'm glad the grizzly left him a face. They typically don't leave any of those delicacies behind, or not unless they can help it. Well, the religious element here is kind of intriguing. Being attacked by a grizzly bear, I would think. I mean, I guess if you live, you might think. It's a little dodgy. The Bible actually has an explicit parallel of people being attacked by bears, and it's not a good parallel in a situation like this. So. This is fascinating. Okay, so this comes out in June. I might get to this right away. It will cause a little PTSD, but I can live with that. All right, so we have 2 mysteries, or 2 romances, and then 2 books in the American wilderness, the bear-haunted American wilderness. So let's move on. Maybe this next book will be about grizzly bears falling in love. Ready, Bean? Okay. All right. Did I just hand you a pub sheet, little girl? No, I did not. Okay. All right. This is by Susanna Charlson. It is Where the Lost Dogs Go. I actually know this author's work. She's very good. She's the best-selling author of The Scent of the Missing and The Possibility Dogs. And she trains search and detection canines, service dogs for the disabled, and comfort dogs that serve the community. And she shares her home with a fur and feather menagerie, including a paralyzed pup on wheels. And let's see here. 1 in 6 dogs go missing at some point in their lives, leaving bereft owners to search high and low, hang missing posters, check shelters, and hope for good news. But amid these grim statistics, countless happy endings are forged. Tails wag again. Best friends are reunited. The author dives headlong into the world of missing dogs. The mission to reunite lost pets with their families starts with Susanna's own shelter rescue, Ace, a plucky Maltese mixed with a mysterious past who's narrowly survived months wandering lost. While Susanna formally studies animal behavior, lost pet search tactics, social media strategies, and the psychology of loss, Ace also steps up for training. Okay, so this will be all about lost dogs, and hopefully it will have some happy endings. This author tends to find some happy endings, and a lot of times, as you know, dog fiction and dog nonfiction, a lot of times they pull you in, they spellbind you for 200 pages, and then they hit you with a mother of all sad endings, shattering endings. I know quite a bit about lost dogs. I have volunteered for a long time at an animal shelter. I know a lot of the ways that it happens, especially if you're in a city or in the suburbs near a city. You absolutely must, under those circumstances, you absolutely must not leave your dog outside during the day unsupervised. You absolutely must not do that. I know you think it's an American thing. Absolutely, it's your right. What kind of a life is it for the dog if you're constantly watching them? I'm going to put the dog out in the yard to wander around, sniff things, do his business, and then in half an hour I'll collect him again because it'll be time to eat, and then I need to crate him so that I can leave for work or whatever. Don't do that. Don't do that. There are vans, unmarked vans, or even sometimes falsely marked vans that patrol exactly those kinds of streets looking for exactly those kinds of dogs. And the fate they are put to, you don't even want to have described to you, much less be responsible for it. It always bugs me. I mean, not just that, but just in general, it always bugs me when I see lost dog posters or when I hear lost dog stories at the animal shelter, because there are still ingrained double standards at work here. I have heard lost dog stories where a couple has a 1-year-old dog. In other words, a perfectly physically able and active and inquisitive young animal. And the one comes home with a car full of groceries, and the other goes out to help and leaves the front door open. And the help takes 20 minutes, and they're bustling, and they're concentrating on the food, and they're concentrating on the car. And 20 full minutes later, they realize the dog is nowhere to be found, because, of course, the dog ran out the front door. And I have never encountered a story like that from anyone. I've encountered many stories like that from many different people, many variations on that story. I've never encountered a story like that from anyone who would have, in their wildest dreams, made the same mistake with a human child. Those people do not have lost child posters all over their neighborhood. They don't. It doesn't happen to them because they take precautions with a child that they just don't with a dog. And so a lot of times, you hate to say it, and especially in a case like of this book where it's all about reuniting, you certainly don't want to drum. I certainly won't drum on it, but on a lot of these cases, the owners are to blame. They are just being irresponsible, plain and simple. And also homicide or lethally irresponsible, because the dogs are a lot of times getting loose in a place that has cars and traffic. Not even a question of whether or not they can survive in, exposure or lack of food, but I'll have to see. I'll have to see what kind of stories the author tells. It should be fascinating either way. It's certainly right up my alley. But anyway, let's move on. The bean has now moved up onto the bed and next to me, and she's sort of pressed against me, I think because she, believe it or not, wants to give up on the mail and just go to sleep. She's sort of resting her chin. Here. Get your second wind. There you go. There you go. All right, so what is this next one? Oh, lovely. Oh, fantastic. Oh, isn't this pretty, too? All right, so this is a paperback original coming out in June. This is by Robert Davis and Beth Linsmith, and it's Lives of the Renaissance, People Who Shaped the Modern Age. Nice gold gilt lettering. Nice little handy paperback that's got art insets in it. It's all about people of the Renaissance. So this is like a history of the Renaissance told through biographies. Fantastic. Okay, so this comes out in late June, and who are the people? I am just big enough of a geek to recognize the people who are on the cover, but let's see what our rundown is. Leonardo Bruni, Brunelleschi, famous Brunelleschi's Dome, Donatello, Cosimo de' Medici, Masaccio, that's interesting. The painter Masaccio, you almost don't see him. He's never talked about. Nicholas of Cusa, Francesco Sforza, Alberti, Pope Pius II. Oh, it goes on and on. There are lots of people in here. Lorenzo de' Medici. All the usual suspects will be in here. But lots of other people, too. This is a very Renaissance-y book. Wow. Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. Popular history. Okay, and this is going to be a $17 paperback. So if you're interested in the Italian Renaissance, you could get this. You could just buy it in your store. $35, I wouldn't blame you for stopping and pausing, but $17, it's a little more doable. It's a couple of days at Starbucks. Great. Okay, that's the first work of history. Yes. Yes. Yeah. This is the first work of history. Okay. Maybe we do better than that. This mail haul ends in a couple of boxes, so we shall see. Okay, what is this? This is hardcover in June. This is Suketu Meta. This land is our land, an immigrant's manifesto. Yikes, political hot-button issue here. There are few subjects in American life that prompt more discussion and controversy than immigration. But do we Hi, B. Hi, B. What are you doing? Hmm? But do we really understand it? In This Land is Our Land, the renowned author Suketu Mehta attacks the issue head-on, drawing on his own experience as an Indian-born teenager growing up in New York City and on years reporting around the world. The author subjects the worldwide anti-immigration backlash to withering scrutiny. Impassioned, rigorous, and richly stocked with memorable stories and characters, This Land is Our Land is timely and necessary. Okay. All right, it's got blurbs from Jhumpa Lahiri and Salman Rushdie. Okay, this is the author of Maximum City. Am I right? Yes, this is the author of Maximum City, a fantastic book. So this is going to get reviewed. That put him on the reviewing radar. That one book did. So this is going to get reviewed everywhere, I think. Especially since book review editors always want, a lot of the insecure ones always go for relevance. They shouldn't. Books are eternally relevant, but they're going to see this is all about immigration and go for it, I think. I myself don't think there's any mystery about the rising anti-immigration tide around the world. I don't think there's any mystery about where it comes from or what explains it. But I'll be interested in the author's review. He clearly has a far more personal experience with it than I ever will. All right, so let's move on. What have we? Oh my! Oh, okay. All right. Okay, it's two more romances. The first one is the one we've seen already, Unexpected, by Kelly Rimmer, with the two nerdy super hotties on the cover there. And I think I described this already. The next 3 decades of Abby Herbert's life are as carefully planned out as the last 3 were. But best career ever? Check. Great friends, one of whom she lives with in a stunning Tribeca apartment? Check. Perfect man to share her dream family? Surely just a matter of time. But then she gets devastating news from her doctor. If she wants to get pregnant, she needs to get started on that, well, yesterday. On the bright side, she has the perfect person in mind to be the father. Tech entrepreneur Marcus Ross has been harboring decidedly not friends feeling toward Abby. He doesn't want to lose her, and knowing his feelings are one-sided, he's been trying to move on. When he learns about the curveball Abby's just been hit with, he promises to be there for her however she wants him to be, even if the idea of fatherhood is a little complicated for him right now. And the only difference between that plot description now and the last time I read this is that in between then and now I've read this book, and it's tremendously good. It's true. It's totally convincing. And the best part of it, that plot description is maintained. The tenor of that plot description is maintained throughout probably the first quarter of the book. The plot description, the tenor being that he has more feelings for her than she has for him. That turns out to be not true. And I've mentioned before that friends into lovers romances is extremely hard to do. It's a popular subgenre, but it usually disappoints me because usually magic is invoked in one way or another that's no real different than Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings. It's an extremely complex thing for friends, especially longtime friends, to become more than that. And most romances don't do it justice, especially since most romances really don't like the passage of time. They really like to keep the time element moving quickly. This Kelly Rimmer, an author I did not know, does it perfectly. So in between when we first encountered this and this duplicate copy, I can very much recommend this book, which comes out in late May. But then this other one is not known to me at all. This is by Joe McNally. I don't know that I've read a Joe McNally novel. This is Slow Dancing at Sunrise. Another fantastic cover. I'm not usually a fan of photo covers, but look at that. That is just, you can't really make it out in this crappy lighting, but that is just lovely. So what have we got here? This is a Rendezvous Falls novel. Oh no, this is the first Rendezvous Falls novel. So we talk about all the time on this channel, romance novels come in series. And sometimes it can be daunting. Sometimes they're up in the 30s. But this is the Rendezvous Falls series, but this is the first book in that series. Award-winning author Joe McNally begins a brand new contemporary romance series with her delightful new novel. The eclectic senior book club at Rendezvous Falls, New York, this is in upstate New York, is up to some matchmaking mischief, but even they wouldn't think that a stubborn pair like Whitney Foster and Luke Rutledge would get together. Thrown together to help rebuild Whitney's aunt's vineyard, the two polar opposites just might find exactly what their lives have been missing. Oh, all right, so this is also a familiar element in my beloved Regency romances and also elsewhere. The meddling matchmaking crowd of older people. That can often be a chance for the author to just plain have lots of fun. And that would be very nice. I've seen it done really well. Okay, great. This comes out in late June. So I've got a bunch of romances. And once again, I've got a slightly, I don't know if you can make her out. She's next to me instead of on the floor with her mess. She's next to me because she's kind of angling to go to sleep for a while. She may have come to me in late 2017, but she's not a puppy anymore. She's an adult dog, and she likes her nap time. But we've still got lots of mail to go, so she's going to have to wait. Let's see. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, we saw this already. We saw the advanced copy of this. This is, I think, a June book. No, this is March. This is right around the corner. This is March 19th. It's by Jamie James, and it's Pagan Light, a nonfiction work about the island of Capri. Takes readers on 22 miles across the Tyrrhenian Sea from Naples to the beautiful island of Capri. And in antiquity, it served as a getaway for the Emperor Tiberius. According to the historian Suetonius, the life of the island was largely structured around the notorious ruler's myriad sexual whims. None of that happened. All of that is manufactured in Suetonius. And the reason you know that it's manufactured is because it's virtually word-for-word cribbed from other earlier books about other people. It just made a good story. That's all. Tiberius didn't do anything of the things that he is now most notoriously known for on the island of Capri. In modern times, the island became a fashionable destination for international celebrities and jet-setters, hosting the likes of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis and serving as the setting for Jean-Luc Godard's classic 1963 film Contempt with Brigitte Bardot. Okay. All right, well. So this is right around the corner. I think I have the advanced copy of this, and I don't think I've touched it. That's not good. Still no actual work of history. We've had some pretty meaty-seeming nonfiction, but no actual history so far. Okay, all right. This is by Claire Harmon. Comes out also this month. Those of you who are in the UK will already have seen this. It's been on your radar for a long time. This is Murder by the Book. Finished copy of Murder by the Book, the crime that shocked Dickens's London. It isn't about any of the crimes that Dickens himself committed. It's about other stuff. Can a novel kill? That's how the pub sheet opens. Can a novel kill? This is the compelling question at the heart of acclaimed biographer Claire Harmon's new book. This vivid, captivating work of nonfiction blends a thrilling true crime story with an illuminating account of the rise of the novel form. In May of 1840, Lord William Russell, well known in London's highest social circles, was found brutally murdered, with his throat cut so deeply that he was nearly decapitated. Police suspected Russell's valet, Courvoisier, of committing the heinous act, but evidence was weak. That is, until police discovered a missing clue in the unlikeliest of places, a novel that the valet had been reading at the time of the murder. And I admit, I saw all the press this was getting in the UK, and it intrigued me in a way. Keyhole mysteries, histories like this do. And I don't think I ever got an advance copy. I think this is the first time seeing it. So it's due this month. It's coming out this month, so I will obviously bump it to the front of the line. And there is our history work. So, good. This next one is fairly heavy. Could be another finished copy. It is. It's another finished copy. It's Inspection by Josh Mallerman. The same stark, admittedly memorable cover. We saw the advance copy of this a long time ago. Well, now I can see what Josh Mallerman looks like. Oh, okay. He is very young. Goodness gracious. He's very young. He's a best-selling author and one of 2 singer-songwriters for the rock band The High Strung. Do you kids know The High Strungs? Are they big on the rock and roll scene? His debut novel Bird Box is the inspiration for the hit Netflix film of the same name. All right, he's doing fairly well if he's the author of Bird Box. His other novels include Unbury Carol and Inspection, and he lives in Michigan. I read Unbury Carol and liked it. Okay, so maybe he's not as young as he looks. He looks like a baby in that photo. Maybe it's the cat. Let's see here. We saw this already, but it's been a while. So, and like I mentioned, plenty of you are new. So let's see here. This is a thriller, semi-supernatural thriller, I think. Yes. Boys are being trained at one school for geniuses, girls at another. Neither knows the other exists until now. Jay is a student at a school deep in a forest far away from the rest of the world. Jay is one of only 26 students, all of whom think the school's enigmatic founder as their father. Jay's fellow peers are the only family he has ever had. The students are being trained to be prodigies of art, science, and athletics, and their life at the school is all they know, and all they are allowed to know. But Jay is beginning to suspect that there is something out there, beyond the pines, that the founder does not want him to see, and he's beginning to ask questions. What is the real purpose of this place? Why can the students never leave? And what else is their father hiding from them? And he meets a girl from a rival academy, and that starts the story in motion. Okay, well, this is out right away. It's out right around the corner. The technical release date is March 19th. I don't know if it's being embargoed, but it's right around the corner. So this mail haul is presenting me with some books that I need to pay attention to right away. Some of these, no matter how intriguing some of the others might be, some of these need to get attention right away, or I'm not doing my job. So let's see. Let's move on. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. This is something you will have heard about on Britta Bowler's channel. Britta Bowler does a monthly feature, a TBR feature, where she talks about a few books coming out in the upcoming months that intrigue her. And this was one of them. This comes out in late March, and this is by Samantha Downing. It is My Lovely Wife in the finished copy. And this is, let's see here, told entirely from the perspective of an unnamed husband. My Lovely Wife is a domestic suspense at its best. A debut so cunning and original, the manuscript has already catapulted its 26-year-old editor into publishing's one-to-watch stage and made waves among media, booksellers, and librarians alike. Goodness gracious. All right, so who is this person? Somebody's got their second win. She currently lives in New Orleans, where she is furiously typing away on her next thrilling book. Okay, good enough. Nice and straightforward. She is also extremely young and extremely pretty. And this is her debut. Got blurs by Harlan Coben. And it also got, it intrigued Britta Bowler's fiction reading sensibilities. And Britta Bowler has written thrillers. So I expect her thriller sensibilities to be fairly good. So we shall see. We shall put this to the test. So, and then we get to the two boxes. We've got two boxes here. One somewhat flat, the other much thicker. Let's see what we have here. Oh, Bean, these boxes are too big for you. Oh, Bean, they're too big for you. Oh, and here, this is probably the club sheet. What is this? Oh! Oh my! Okay, I think this is from one of you. It's from A Libris, the book ordering shop. It's the book I mentioned the other day. It's Penguin and Elaine Brothers. It's Stuart Kell's History of Penguin Books. Did one of you actually go to A Libris and buy this for me? This is just a packing slip. I have no idea how even to read a packing slip. And there doesn't appear to be anything else in here. No note of any kind. But this is the book. Oh my. Well, okay, I don't know how to read an invoice. Obviously, I don't know how to read an invoice. But it couldn't be Penguin that sent this. There's no way. There are 5 people at Penguin who watch these videos, but they wouldn't just pack a thing in the mail. No, it has to be one of you. Well, whoever it was, thank you very much. Wow. Oh, this is going to be an enormous temptation, but I have all those other things I have to... Wow. Okay, well, now I have this. I bellyached the other day in a video that I didn't have a copy of this book, even though I am, as you can tell, obviously Penguin Books' biggest fan. And now I do. Well, thanks to the generosity of somebody out there. Wonderful. Then the last thing we have is a box. Big, thick box, and then we'll be done. What have we got here? How can we break into this thing? It's too bad. Are we going to need scissors for this thing? It's taped all over, which leads me to think it's not a publisher. Fortunately. I always have scissors nearby. So I'll just cut it like this. I'm so mean to the rest of you. There's one particular former books receiving manager who just clenches every time somebody cuts with scissors going in the direction of their own body. What have we got here, Bean? What is this going to be? Huh? Right, it's a paperback of some kind. You don't want the box, Frida? Oh, fantastic. Oh, great. This is from Houghton Mifflin. Oh, wow. All right, this is also out right away. This is out on Tuesday, I think. And boy, oh boy, you should buy it. We're ending on the strongest of all possible notes. This is a book you should buy. I almost never say that, right? I ordinarily say, well, if it's a paperback, then you might be able to justify paying for it. I do kind of sort of recommend it. Or you could go to the library and wait for your library to get it or something like that. But this is something you should simply go to your bookstore and buy. And if they don't have it, order it and buy it. And this is, believe it or not, as I say every time, all on this channel, all I have to do is wait. And everything will come to me. I don't know why I go to used bookstores ever. This is BookTube, The Collected Stories of Eudora Welty, in a brand new, beautiful trade paperback from the folks at Mariner. This is an introduction by Ann Patchett, and this is her volume of short stories. We saw it. It's on the shelf behind me. We saw when I found a hardcover at the Brattle. But I need not have done that. I don't ever need to find anything anymore. I can just wait. Cornelius Ryan will come to me. All reprints will come to me. Old science fiction eventually will come to me. And a beautiful new trade paperback of the collected stories of Eudora Welty. This is beautifully put together. And it is $18, but I don't care. I don't care. Eudora Welty is perhaps still the most famous graduate of the Iowa Writers Workshop in Iowa City. And all of these stories are beautiful. All of them are. They're all wonderful. And in ways you might not suspect. What do you do if you're a publicity person and you're writing a pub sheet for Eudora Welty, for God's sake? One of the greatest short story writers in the history of the world. With a new introduction from best-selling author Ann Patchett and a beautiful new cover design. Yes, the Weeping Willow. This collection is truly among the great works of 20th century American literature. Okay, no argument here. Over the course of her illustrious career, Eudora Welty wrote novels, novellas, and reviews, but the heart and soul of her literary vision lay in the short story. That is absolutely true. All of her other stuff is worth reading, but her short story is absolutely true. And the 41 pieces collected here were written over a period of 3 decades and include some of her best work, including A Petrified Man, The Wide Net, The Bride of Innisfallen, and, of course, Why I Live at the P.O. Okay, great. Fantastic. So this comes out any day now. It comes out next Tuesday. And it will be in your bookstores. This is Marina putting this in front of the reading world again. So that the reading world that, you know, in rural Colorado or, you know, upstate California or wherever, that has no access to a used bookstore of any kind and is worried, rightfully so, about buying used books on Amazon because the condition the book is listed in is never true. So you don't know what you're going to get. But those people that are in that situation, but they do have access to a completely new retail bookstore like a Barnes & Noble, now you know what to do with the next $17 you come across. You need to buy the collected stories of Eudora Welty. This is a classic of American literature. And you need to sit down and read it. Spend some time with a wise and wonderful, funny person. Wow, okay, well, I just couldn't end a mail haul on a better note than that. Oh, boy. All right, well, I don't usually say it. In this case, I don't feel any compunction whatsoever. You should buy this book. This should be in your library. If you don't already have a collected stories of Eudora Welty in the old brown spine paperback or brown dust-jacketed hardcover, now you have a new version that's got new binding, a new introduction by an author that most of us like. Now you have no excuse at all, and you shouldn't need an excuse anyway. You should go and buy this. This is great stuff. You're going to love it. Wow, okay, great. Boy, you know, any day now, 2019, 2020, 2021, I will get a new paperback release of, for instance, The Collected Stories of John Cheever, another collected stories classic in American literature. Not quite as brilliant as these, but more of them. And right now, if you want The Collected Stories of John Cheever, you have to go to a used bookstore or wait at the library and hope they have a copy. But sooner or later, somebody will reprint that volume and I will get it. Not that I'm not swearing off used bookstores, but still. All right, so there you have it. So let's do a Steve pyramid here. We have Penguin and Elaine brothers, which I'm assuming that one of you sent this to me. You are incredibly nice to me. I don't know. You're just incredibly nice to me that you would listen so carefully to the one book in the world that I don't have and actually get it for me. But I can't think of another way that this would happen. There's no way that anybody at Penguin would go on Alibris and get this for me. There's just no way. It had to be one of you. I'll have to scrutinize the invoice if Frida hasn't eaten it and see if I can find out who. Then My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Britta Bowler swears on her life that it is a great book. Then Inspection by Josh Mallerman, who was a struggling author and then wrote Bird Box, so he's not struggling anymore, but we'll see what this book is like. Then Murder by the Book, a Victorian murder mystery with a literary twist. Pagan Light, the latest book about the island of Capri. There have been many others, but this I'm always up for one. Then This Land is Our Land, New Immigrant Manifesto. Lives of the Renaissance. Illustrated little handbook, a paperback handbook that takes you through the Renaissance through lives. Wonderful approach. Where the Lost Dogs Go, the latest book from an author who knows all about dogs, shelter dogs, lost dogs, caring for dogs. Wild Awakening, a man encounters a grizzly bear and lives to tell about it. Ever Faithful by Karen Barnett, the third in her series of national park themed novels. The Little Tea Shop on Main, a story about 3 lifelong friends who are very different personally speaking, and have this one ritual that keeps them together, which that rings true to real life and could be really good reading. Then the collected stories of Eudora Welty in a gorgeous new paperback, in a gorgeous new must-have paperback. And then we have 3 mass-market romances. We have Luck of the Draw, Slow Dancing at Sunrise by Jo McNally. I don't think I've read her at all. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, it was just too big. It wasn't me. It was the thermodynamics of the thing. Well, okay, and the last thing is Unexpected by Kelly Rimmer, which I do recommend. So I got 3 romances today, but no historical romances. That's weird. But it doesn't matter. None of it matters, because the thing I got today was the collected stories of Eudora Welty in a new paperback. A lovely new paperback. So, I'll wrap this up for now. That was, oh God, look at the size of this. This is the longest mail haul we've ever had. Well, anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna clean up after my bean, and then see if she really does want to take a nap, or maybe go outside. Maybe that'll pump some air into her. But I'll be back, as usual. Thank you, BookTube.